Gang stalking is a covert operation ran by the government. Agencies like the CIA, DIA, they all collectively, it's a torture program designed for isolation and destitution. Recently, in 2017, they attacked me while I was in California. And part of the attack was them talking to me. So I've never heard voices my entire life. And now suddenly these agents are communicating with me and they're telling me what they're going to do before they do it. And it's weird because when you go, I don't know how you view history, and the Constitution and how matters are set up, but a lot of these professions are covert professions. So when you take this to a psychologist and you tell them what's being done, although it's widely recognized, they won't acknowledge the claims. They call it paranoia.
Right.
So, and it's just crazy. The government's doing it.
It's funny that part of the reason I got my diagnosis was I was always too forward with my intuitions, understandings, and I think like words like psychic, witch, and all that, they carry such a negative connotation as to make people shut their mind onto it, to not believe, to not
Absolutely.
put any insider thought into it. I've I'm as close to it as a psychic as one could get. With I get what's called like a direct knowing. I'm connected directly to. It's like all religions contain truth, but there is no truthful religion. They're all born of the same place. They all come from the same origins, the same understandings. And these are people who didn't know where the sun went at night. So there are some still like stuff that you have to like overlook. But I've always been aware of what if Stargate, Operation Stargate.
Yeah.
Where they would use the CIA would use remote viewers to spy on Russia and other places.
Yep. Satellite cameras.
They also use those people to spy on civilians, people like myself, and because we're a threat to the existence of their order, the order that the hold on humanity that they have. And also like large corporations that are like the Dream Police.
Yep.
Like, have you ever had an idea for a movie, a song, or anything like that?
And they acted, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's on the radio.
Yep.
There's people out there that, like, something about, like, conception and communicating, like, just like, if you bring it out to, if you speak it, or, like, they can't access it until you share it. Like,
well, have you ever heard of remote neural monitoring? That's part of the technology that they have. They see your thought processes as they form. So when you're having these thoughts and you're pondering on, something that you might want to do, they get it before you. It also allows them to block the thoughts. So, let's say you're planning on acting on X, Y, and Z tomorrow. They'll block Z and you'll work on X and Y and you can never even access Z.
Right.
It's crazy horrible. But like you were saying about the corporations and stuff, that is part of that gang stalking thing I mentioned. Secret societies, like they're all in on it. Bloodlines, I don't know if you know about eugenics. A lot of created races, aren't supposed to be. It's kind of how they are escaping congenital inheritance, walking amongst us without handicap. And yeah, it's just not supposed to be.
Like the meditations, the Eastern religions, well, the philosophies of the East or something embrace this idea more than we do here in the West. Everything that the people of your past, your distinct family lineage, all that information that they've learned, they're locked away inside your DNA.
Yeah.
It's there. It's there for you to access.
Exactly.
You learn how through meditation.
Well, pineal glands, it's really all based in pineal glands. And that's like one of the things that created races have a problem developing, without biotechnology and things like that. It wouldn't be anything but Africans on this planet, So RFID chip implants, their radio frequency, that's part of how they communicate, but it's also part of how they access our binary code. You know, they can control how much of our genetic makeup shows.
Right.
So it's how you restrict RNA, how you add RNA, you know, and get things to function in a way that they're not supposed to.
Quantum physics and quantum computers especially.
Yeah.
We got the plans from quantum computers from like consciousnesses of another.
Decoding the mind. Yeah.
And like
It's the God particle.
like listening to some like that, I found that to be intimidating. But I had a cousin who married this gentleman who grew up in South America.
Mm-hmm.
His father worked for the DoD and NASA on the remains found, like the technological remains found at Red Rock Canyon in Arizona, and then slightly later from Roswell.
Okay.
And I met him. I was just a young kid, you know, and I've always had this idea for a travel for a vehicle possibly capable of interplanetary travel through atmospheric skipping.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of thousands of tons of gold missing from Earth. Earth. Gold, when superheated, not only conducts but actually produces the electricity.
Yeah.
If you were to make a ceramic gold and plan like heat tile or to shield your craft for re-entry, it would not only shield your craft but produce electricity.
Wow.
Then, if you were to take with nuclear sciences and whatnot, you take a powered magnet. Use a computer, because we can put a bomb within 2 feet of a target now. We can do what I'm talking about.
Right.
We use a computer to power this magnet to the correct frequency that would operate off of whichever, like say for instance, Earth's ley lines, the natural electromagnetic fields that Earth puts out. They're traceable. We know they're there. It's not like methodical science. If you were to polarize those frequencies to each other, it'd be like taking a north magnet and a south magnet, putting them on top of each other. They'd repel. So they would give you near weightless, like you were to defy gravity.
Right.
And then sound. Use directional, like something like LRAD.
Yeah. Manipulation of acoustics.
Right, as your propulsion. And with you'd be able to in a weightless 0G environment, you'd be able to travel like super fast.
Yeah.
And if you were to skip, so how we have.
So are you kind of talking about portals?
Huh?
Are you kind of talking about portals?
No, not quite a portal, but just unconventional means of travel, like how our planets align.
Yeah.
So if I were to travel from, so I wanted to go from here to Venus or whatever.
Okay.
That craft leaves here, and as we exit, with the atmospheric burn from entering in that would charge the batteries, and so then I would skip through the gravitational field of the atmosphere of whichever planet.
Yeah.
Not landing, but coming close enough to create that heat to power my batteries, to power my generators to get to my destination.
Okay.
That's how these alien beings. That's that's how they crashed here. It's because of it's not things go wrong even for advanced civilization.
Yeah.
I explained this idea to my cousin's husband's father, and he was like, oh my god, he was like, look, I want to show you something, and he liberated some files from his work in South America that he let me read, and that craft it's called a vibroharmonic engine. It actually exists, and it is what they were reverse engineering in those two crash sites. And my belief on that is, for Earth to have life on it, another planet somewhere else died.
Yeah, absolutely.
Supernova, and its fragments moved up and that's where life, spark of life, comes from.
Yeah.
So knowledge, and it's hard to think because our soul is there's a fraction of a gram that's like we can't account for it when we die. It leaves our body, we don't know what it is or where it goes.
Right. I'm familiar with that.
It's the and that so it's like so when something dies here on this planet, its knowledge is locked here into the life of this planet. And it's like through meditation we can come to find or grasp that knowledge, that understanding. And it's like I believe like wholeheartedly, but not only because I read the files, but like so like this alien erasement, like the crashes that they said have happened here have happened, and those consciousness died here, releasing their energy, their biofuel source, I don't know what to call it, here on this planet, and thus it was absorbed into the cycle of life. You know, through death is what comes life, through life is death. It's the circle that we have. So that knowledge has now become part of our process, of our cycle.
I agree. What do you think about cloning? The human model, because as you know, like really most of what's walking amongst us is a reflection of artificial intelligence. So
I believe wholeheartedly in it. Like it's very much so possible. I don't know to the degree like if there was another clone of me, would we be somehow subconsciously aware of each other? How much likely would it be? But for the specifics, I'm not entirely sure, but I wholeheartedly believe that it would be easily done because we were cloning sheep 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So why not
Yeah.
And the way.
And I think the first human embryo was like in the 90s.
Right, yeah. And I forgot that. And the way that our government runs things is there's a 20-year gap on the technology and sciences that we as civilians are aware of. So like all the cool fancy computers and phones and stuff.
Exactly.
It's 20 years old. And
yeah.
And so at that time when cloning was released to humanity, to the public,
yeah,
it was a 20-year-old technology.
Exactly. And that's what I've told people, like, you know, when I have discussions like this, I'm like, you know, that's been around. They even talked about technology in the book of Enoch, you know, how they introduced, you know, the human model to it, you know, the originators of Dominion, and it's actually by it turned into a flaw, you know, and now it's just a lot of alien activity taking place.
And the Bible says to alter not one word by hand nor mouth. So when the church got together and took those 13 books out of the Bible, they kind of ruined any truth that would be found in there.
Yep.
And again, still we have to remember.
Well, you got to think it was meant to hide, you know, like. I don't know how you see the Bible or what your belief is, but I look at it as kind of Satan's book to his people. You know, in the very first chapter, it tells you that you were made out of sin because they were stealing DNA from the human model to create others. You know, that Adam and Eve strand of DNA was the human model. My bloodline is mitochondrial Eve. So, you know, that's kind of why I'm having this issue with the government, and I've been fighting for about 3.5 years.
And I agree with that because I believe that the knowledge and understandings that I have is evolved. That's what they want people to have around here.
They want everybody to be domiciled. You know, like, it's just, they don't want you to think at all.
Right.
You know, and it's crazy. They want you to get a job, have kids, get married. Don't think about anything else. When it comes to science, it's almost like a hidden culture of its own.
Right.
It's disturbing. And the same scholars that are learning about solids, you know, it's just demographics, I suppose, you know, the tiers that we're in the lower tier, you can't get them to recognize anything. But if something makes it to mainstream media, first of all, you got to think what that would take, something catastrophic, and then they'd acknowledge it. You know, that's just the thing. They're kind of running from the truth.
But they're hiding us from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things about like as far as religions go,
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember that again that these are people that argued about where the sun went at night. So there's
Yeah.
like we can't adhere too strongly to these religious beliefs. Maybe there's the esoteric mythos of it all, which is it's also there as kind of a distraction.
Mm-hmm. Religion's man-made.
Or, yes, like angels, demons, God, all that. It's
Allegory.
While both exist, it's not at all like what people believe or think.
No, it's not. You got to fake balance some way. So that allegory thing I'm talking about, demons and angels, I believe that since one bloodline was saved, that it can only apply to the angelic, you know, or they can only apply to one bloodline. Meanwhile, everything else has been created as a reflection of eugenics and is designed to fake balance, just so you don't show your complete genetic makeup. You know, if you're a demon seed, you don't look like it, you don't talk like it. You're able to convey emotions that you're not supposed to be able to convey. You're able to act and feel a way you're not supposed to be able to feel.
Angels and demons are the same thing. I mean, even in the Bible, they are just like angels. The demons are fallen angels, but they're still angels. You know, what they're really non-corporeal entities, but consciousnesses without a body.
Mm-hmm.
And what they embody, like the human emotion embodies and fuels them, and they fuel, and everything works in a trinity, hand in hand,
Mm-hmm.
cycle within cycle. And so the way we live our lives fuels them, the way they fuel us fuels our lives, and the way our reality is affected. And what we call demons are the consciousnesses that are reflections of what we would consider to be the dark traits of our humanity: hate, rage, anger.
Yeah. Characteristics and traits can be found in your DNA.
Right.
And by controlling RNA, you can restrict or amplify how much of that genetic makeup shows.
And it's something that I've been kicking around kind of recently is if your mother or your father was to be possessed momentarily or briefly for a period of time
Mm-hmm.
by one of these non-corporeal consciousness entities beings in the time in which you were conceived,
Mm-hmm.
what would you be?
A demon seed, unless you come from that bloodline that I'm talking about, mitochondrial Eve. And the only factor is the woman's age, the original womb woman, you know, the human model. They can't do anything about the Holy Spirit, you know. So eventually, as that bloodline goes on, they produce a entity that can't be possessed, but they do possess every woman prior to that. So, for example, I can't be possessed. My mother is, her mother was, her mother's mother was, you know, like, it's just how you control legal fiction, dominion, and the ability to have physics on the planet. But, so I've been dealing with demon possession, which is a subconscious mind attack, you know, like, that's where the soul resides. And that whole sunken place, I don't know if I believe all that, you know, like a lot of things say something about a sunken place. I just believe that you can remove memories and it will affect how you look at someone. So if you don't have those memories and you can't access those feelings associated with it, you can make someone that you once loved despise another, you know. So they rewrite stuff. I think that's where the stories of past lives come from too. You know, like these folks that are born and they're like, I've had these past experiences. It's that cycle you were talking about. So now when someone dies, you have all their memories. And if you apply some of that to that child, they're going to say they have tales of a past life. And it's very real, especially if you don't know that it has a technical assist. So I always kind of look at how do you debunk these theories. History's been whitewashed. Most of what we know is a lie. So how do we get back to the truth?
Through faith, you have to believe in yourself first, and then you have to decipher the truth from fiction, because there's a lot out there to
A whole lot.
mislead you, take you the wrong way, and just as much out there to discredit you and make you seem like you should be on meds or something for speaking on these things.
Right.
And I feel like one time when I was about 14, I felt like I'd been started up when I started. I believe that I'd been monitored. I was starting to be monitored because of what I was like, the strength that my soul carries, the brightness of my light, if you will, was noticed by people, and it's been like nothing good's ever happened for me in my life, and it always seems like no matter what effort I put in, whether I make the right choice, the wrong choice, whether that it's being successful has always been just beyond my reach, of pulled away from me, kept away from me. But I believe this agencies like MK Ultra and etc. have been there
Yeah.
to stop me from succeeding, from when I begin to exceed, I will evolve again into something even greater than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want people like that out there, because my light already affects people immensely. Like when I talk to people or come into a room, even if I'm having a good day or bad day, it affects the whole room on me. And if I start sharing the understanding, the wisdoms and knowledges that I've come to know, it has a physical, noticeable effect on people. So if I take that to the next level, it would be everything that they work against. Everything I would stand for would be to undermine what their work is.
Mm-hmm.
And so they slowly keep me and people like myself held down, repressed.
Mm-hmm.
I've always to some degree believed that. You can't ever say for sure. I hate these things.
Me too. Especially when you're trying to have a conversation, it makes it so much harder to talk,
They're not even,
and breathe and.
if it's an airborne virus, what most people don't realize is you get 80% of your oxygen through your skin. So let's just and after 45 minutes of wearing one of these, they're so saturated that they're not stopping anything anyway.
No. So you said you had schizophrenia as a kid. They put you on medicine for it?
So they tried, yeah. Haloperidol, Cogentin.
How do you feel about, I mean, I feel like the worst thing you can do is violate the mind. And if I'm telling you that these things are happening to me and this is what I'm experiencing, it's true. So to medicate that is a way of violating the mind. How do you feel about it?
There's two ways to look at it now. The person passing you those prescriptions could be a plant, a mole, someone who's aware of these government projects or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or the system that you're in, the system created to handle people like us. That doctor really thinks he's doing working for good, helping to better you, but has been convinced, like with truth that's distorted, has them believing in false idealizations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's one of those two, like, it'd be one of those two possibilities, and neither one, like, not to talk down on either one of us, but neither one of us are so unique or so special that they would train and plant a agent of such nature into our personal lives. The funding behind that would be ridiculous, and there'd be one for you, and there'd be one for me, and like, so that would just be, so like, I'd go with probably the latter one, to where the truth has been distorted so much to where these people believe that they're actually working against, or working to help us cope with a disorder or mental illness of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And so they actually think they're working for something, doing something good, but they're working for a benevolent force rather than helping choose the reason.
Right. So, do you recall, it's been not quite a decade ago, but just about, when CERN was opening up that large demon portal? It was supposed to like create the darkest stargates here on the earth. So, these entities.
I believe in the multiverse too. I believe in multiple realities.
Yeah, for sure. You know, covert occupations. I mean, I don't know. I completely understand what you just said, but my experience has been so different. I'm not coming across anything but these dark beings, and they show up and they literally, like, they're only there to sabotage my record and, you know, call me something that I'm not. And it's a good thing recordings exist. You know, I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't record and capture some of this stuff. But it's just horrible. It's really, really horrible. And it's only gotten worse. Everything's taken like a dark turn.
Yeah. Yes, I have friends that when you relax, you let the let your understanding of this world go, and you just focus on the darkness within you, not the dark, but like the dark within you. And you find your inner the light, your soul, consciousness, and you see it as a light that ignites here, and it goes forever down and forever
Through
out.
the chakras, yeah. Energy centers, yeah.
I found
Did you know that they can pour in and out of that?
I believe anything possible.
I mean,
what's possible in your reality and my reality is based upon what you believe.
right.
And that's what makes anything possible. Like, we've done the dual slit test, the test we did back in the 20s that proved that observation affects reality.
Mm-hmm.
So when you observe and perceive the world around you, affects your reality. I believe that we share this planet, this earth. We share it as to some degree, so we exist on the same plane. But the way that you feel emotionally and otherwise is so uniquely you that you live in a world of your own, but we share existence.
Exactly. Yeah. Something like a galactic commander.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. I've had some strange experiences outside of hearing voices. Has anything else happened?
Telepathy, unexplainable understandings, knowledges,
Kind of like you're being downloaded or catapulted. Yeah.
The ability to affect the outcome of the events around me,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to imprint on people, to make them do as I wish,
Mm-hmm.
to some degree. Combating, like, when the dark entities or forces, like, come into my life or come into it, they go, like, mind to grab hold of them, then that light, that's your soul, that's your life, I can turn it up like a furnace. I can power that light until it's able to burn that darkness away.
Yeah, something like spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fucking them up in the spirit, and they started attacking my pineal gland real bad. Like, I'm talking about literally blowing their heads right off their necks. Magic. What do you think about magic?
Again,
Do you believe that physics is the expression behind it? I mean, obviously.
I like it, and the more you believe, the more it's possible. So like the things that you can do with your mind, your spiritual gifts will be different than what I can do because we have
Yeah.
different understandings and different beliefs.
They take food that I eat from my stomach. I've swallowed like a Tylenol one time, and no, it was a laxative. I take laxatives. So they took the laxative and they put it on my tongue. I fell asleep after I took it. They took it, they put it on my tongue. Smoke, they blow smoke out of my mouth. Like, it's portals. They can port in. No different than the guy that's pulling a continuous scarf out of his mouth, or sticks a knife down his neck. It's the same thing. But they're doing it to what seems like an everyday human being, but obviously I have some other things going on that they know of. So, yeah, I've had phones, devices. They've stolen like 12 devices total from me, and 7 of those were, I guess you could say, telekinesis, but magic. Like they just remove it right out of thin air.
And that's why those words like magic, witch, psychic, all most people you say that, they're gonna go, oh, okay, and stop.
But those are the same ones that can't deny ever seeing a magic trick.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like it doesn't, it contradicts.
Right, exactly. It creates confusion within the person's mind so that they can't believe anything beyond what they know or greater than themselves.
Mm-hmm.